Well, good morning. Joining me here today, among others, is Councilmember Lorie Zapf, of course, who represents this great district. Paul Robinson, Gio Ingolia, representing the Mission Bay Park Committee. James Nagelvort, our Public Works Director. Herman Parker, who's our Park and Recreation Director. Andy Field, Park and Recreation Assistant Director. And Catherine Johnston, who's our Parks and Recreation Board Committee Chair. Thank you all for being here. I've really been looking forward to this announcement a great deal. As I think you know, for many San Diegans, parks are where our families and our visitors make memories that they cherish for a lifetime. We must invest in them, we must preserve them, and we must protect our parks. And over the past few years, we've done just that by embarking on the largest expansion of new and improved parks in city history. And today we are taking the next big step forward as we unveil a grand restoration plan for one of San Diego's most treasured regional parks, Mission Bay Park. Mission Bay Park is the largest aquatic park of its kind in the country, covering more than 4,000 acres and 27 miles of shoreline. It's a big, great, beautiful park, but it also has big needs. And today that's why we are announcing the investment of more than $40 million to preserve and enhance this beautiful park for generations to come. And we're going to be upgrading dozens of playgrounds, comfort stations, parking lots, and recreation facilities as part of this long-term vision. These improvements are going to breathe new life into Mission Bay Park that residents and visitors alike are going to be able to enjoy for decades. And this plan also includes millions of dollars to restore navigational safety to the bay and to help preserve the bay's environment. It also calls for a wide-ranging environmental report to streamline construction and guide the city on wetland preservation and shoreline restoration. Investing to Mission Bay Park, as I think many of you know, is important to me on a personal level. My first foray into public service in San Diego was as a volunteer member of the Mission Bay Park Committee. It's almost nearly 2 decades ago. My, how time flies. When I first got involved as a volunteer, I saw firsthand the needs of this great park and what needed to be done differently. And that's why I was proud to co-author in 2008 a ballot measure that directed a portion of Mission Bay lease revenue to put right back in this park, right where it belongs. Voters overwhelmingly approved that plan. And then in 2016, I put forth a second initiative, Measure J, that allowed us to speed up those projects and get these improvements underway even faster. Voters overwhelmingly approved that plan as well. And the good news is that the work has already started. We recently completed a $10 million dredging project for Mission Bay, and now we are rolling out the schedule for the next round of upgrades. And this is just the latest example of how our parks, both big and small, are getting the attention and the investment that they deserve. Since 2016, we've opened 22 new parks with more than 24 others in various stages of design or construction. And we've also launched a collaborative effort with the school district to build over 45 joint use parks. Our beaches, our bays, our parks are places where San Diegans come together and why people come to San Diego by the millions each and every year. This is all about putting our neighborhoods first and improving the quality of life for all San Diegans. And there's nothing that delivers more on that than investing in our parks. So I want to thank all of the folks that are here today, all of the people in our Park and Recreation Department and our Public Works Department for their hard work in getting this restoration off the ground. It is, as you can see, an impressive list of needed projects that all of the public is going to be able to enjoy these fantastic new amenities when they open. As I said before, it's great to see this, the fruition of a lot of effort and investment that is going to pay off for San Diegans year after year after year. Now I'd like to introduce a few other speakers to come to the microphone. First up is a champion for our beaches and bays community who has really advocated for this park so many time again, who's been a constant, tireless advocate for Mission Bay, our Councilmember Lorie Zapf. Councilmember?
Thank you. All right, thank you. Woo, what a beautiful day to be out here at Mission Bay and show off what a gorgeous destination this is. And what a great day for celebrating. For far too long, the city's hands were tied, and we were unable legally to make the substantial improvements right here at Mission Bay that were needed. However, thanks to the mayor's efforts, thanks to the voters, that has all changed. And now we can spend funds generated from our leaseholders on important projects that impact our residents the most, and simultaneously work on important environmental projects. We were not able to do that before. We all know that right here, Mission Bay is the crown jewel of our beach and bay communities, and residents from all over the city, the county, come here on a regular basis. You see walkers, runners, bikers, kayakers, windsurfers, and very importantly, families. And families will now be able to have a much more enjoyable experience right here at Mission Bay. I am very thrilled to announce, I'm going to wait for that plane because this is just too important. Just a little bit. The Point Loma Pause at Mission Beach. Again, I am very thrilled to announce that the longtime beach area volunteer that was struck and killed while painting out graffiti, Maruta Gardner, will have her vision completed with an upgraded playground at Bonita Cove West, and that playground will be named in her honor. That has been a priority for myself and the women that were working alongside her to raise money for that important project that now, in her memory, will be completed. So, yes, Mission Bay Park is getting the investment of a century with a wave of voter-approved funding. I'm so proud to be a part of this exciting announcement. From dredging, better lighting, safer surface parking lots, comfort stations, bike and walking paths, and new playgrounds. Mission Bay Park will be better serving all of San Diegans and visitors, so I'm ready to get to work on all this. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorie.
Yeah.
Thank you, well done. Thank you, Lorie. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, I'd like to introduce the chairman of the Mission Bay Park Committee, who's really continues to do a fantastic job and has really been helping to spearhead this, our committee chairman, Paul Robinson. Paul?
Thank you. I, like Kevin and Lorie, I can't believe how beautiful it is here. I'm going to talk about two heroes when it comes to this park. The first was a gentleman by the name of Glenn Rick, who had the vision to change marshland into Mission Bay Park. He and the city forefathers changed this into this beautiful asset that we have. You probably couldn't do it today. He did it then, but you probably couldn't do it today because of environmental, state, and federal regulations, but he got it done. The second hero is standing here right with us, and that's the mayor, because he had the foresight to author Proposition C in 2008, which created the Mission Bay Park Improvement Fund and a committee that I chair, the Mission Bay Park Improvement Fund Oversight Committee, which gave us the ability to spend millions of dollars each year to enhance this beautiful asset. He became a second hero to me in 2016 when he pushed through Measure J, which extended Proposition C or the Improvement Fund for decades. So the city can continue to spend millions of dollars on this asset. And I want to thank the mayor and all of the city staff that work very hard to keep this asset in pristine condition. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Thank you, Paul, for your kind words. Now I'd like to introduce our Parks and Recreation Assistant Director, Andy Field, to talk a little bit about the projects and when these improvements are going to be ready for the public. Andy?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Isn't it a great day to be here in Mission Bay Park?
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, first off, I want to thank Mayor Faulconer and Councilmember Zapf for their continued tireless support of the park system. Without their leadership here, we would not be able to do what we do in Parks and Recreation. In addition to that, it takes a village to run a park system, and we rely heavily on our volunteers. And as you've noticed, Mr. Robinson and also Ms. Johnston are going to have already come forward and will come forward to speak with you. But what their passion brings to the table here in Mission Bay Park and throughout our park system are unparalleled. And without their guidance and support, we would not be able to do what we do. So thanks to all of our elected officials and to our nominated and appointed volunteers who assist us. So with that, this park has been one that has frankly spent many years waiting for a big infusion of new facilities. As you look around and see our parking lots and restrooms, they're a little tired and they're ready for some upgrades. So over the next 10 years, residents and tourists alike will see Mission Bay Park improved and upgraded with new facilities, including playgrounds, parking lots, and recreational opportunities that everybody can enjoy. We'll be spending $2.5 million just in parking lot repaving alone. This will include De Anza North and South, Old SeaWorld Drive, Crown Point North, beginning this year. And those are depicted on this map over here to my left. We're investing $2.5 million to install new playground equipment at Crown Point, Santa Clara, and both Tecolote North and South. And as previously mentioned, we are eagerly awaiting the completion of the Maruta Gardner Playground at Bonita Cove West. We're also mindful of public health and safety, and as such, we'll be replacing a number of comfort stations and restrooms here in the park. This includes locations at Bonita Cove West, El Carmel, Mission Bay Athletic Area, North Cove, Ventura, among other locations. Not only will these comfort stations be upgraded and in many cases replaced, they will feature a new design layout to encourage safety and to offer gender-neutral restrooms. This will improve safety and cleanliness within our bathrooms here in the park. We're improving walking trails along San Diego River, as well as connecting Robb Field with the Ocean Beach Gateway. This will preserve the environment and also encourage the public to get outside and enjoy nature. We are keenly aware of how our stewardship of Mission Bay Park includes the responsibilities to protect the bay, wetlands, and the environment. We'll be working with a number of projects to improve water quality and install wetlands, and these plans are in the works around areas like Rose Creek, North Fiesta Island. They will be studied holistically for the entire bay as part of the Programmatic Environmental Impact Report, and consultant work on this effort has already begun. The construction phase of Mission Bay dredging, which helped restore navigable waters, has been largely completed, and that project is now in the monitoring phase. And this is only the beginning. In addition to these projects that I just mentioned, we have other funds that are paying for improvements to places such as Mission Bay Golf Course with removal of the existing clubhouse and installation of a new facilities to improve lighting and irrigation at that site. And then also we have water and sewer group jobs, many of which you've seen construction efforts underway as you came into the park today. This is a really exciting time for Parks and Recreation, and we can't wait to get started to see the renaissance of Mission Bay Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much. And finally now, I'd like to introduce the chair of the city's Park and Recreation Board, who's also been just a tremendous driving force in the momentum that we have throughout our entire park system, Catherine Johnston. Catherine?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Faulconer. It's really an honor to be here today with Mayor Faulconer and Councilmember Zapf and all of my friends and colleagues who care deeply about parks in San Diego. I'd like to echo what Paul said in that we really wouldn't have the opportunity to be here today celebrating this unprecedented investment in Mission Bay Park if it wasn't for the leadership of Mayor Faulconer and his vision to secure the future of Mission Bay Park back in 2008. So I really want to thank and commend Mayor Faulconer for his leadership on this. And then I'd also, as someone who had the opportunity to work closely with Maruta Gardner, who was a tireless community advocate, who was just exactly what somebody should be, and she offered so much to this community. I'd like to personally thank Councilmember Zapf for your leadership in continuing to advocate for that project and making sure that that playground came to fruition. Thank you. And then the last thing I'd like to say as the chair of the Parks and Rec Committee, I bring a little bit different perspective as well, is that because of the leadership of Councilmember Zapf and Mayor Faulconer, because of Measure J, not only do we have an unprecedented level of investment in Mission Bay Park and a stable and secure funding source for Mission Bay Park, we also have that for our regional parks throughout the system. And because of Measure J and because of Proposition C, we now have a stable and secure source of funding for regional parks such as Balboa Park and Mission Trails Park. And without that source, there would be very limited funding available for those park projects. So again, I just want to thank Mayor Faulconer and Councilmember Zapf. And then I'd also have to just thank the City of San Diego Parks and Recreation and Public Works Department, because as a volunteer, you see them day in and day out, and you know how active they are in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, thank you. A great team effort all the way through. Thank you all for being out here today. As I said before, I'm just going to stay here for the rest of the day. We'll do all meetings here. But thank you. I can't wait to get started on this. This is just one of the things that I know as my time of mayor that I will reflect on is one of the big changes and improvements we made for a very, very long time to come. So thank you all for being here, and we will, all of us, be available for questions one-on-one. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thanks all. Big deal, guys.